the old school
Oh,
WWF.
I do too.
All
right.
right. So we are live. So we'll give them a couple minutes here. That way people jump on.
And then I got to on my page. What do I
Oh,
got to do on my
yeah.
page?
Just go to your page. Yeah. I'll do that
Tag
too
it.
real quick.
Yep.
So that way. And you can tag Coach too as well.
All right. You cool if I tag you, Coach Allen?
Sure.
So all your people can see it.
I wish it would let us do that from the beginning, but it just, I don't know. It's because we're using a streaming app.
Gotcha. All right. I did my job. We're good there.
Yep. And I just tagged him too. So I think it's going to let me do it as well. Tag him in it. Yep. Okay. So we live.
Cool.
Look at that. That's how we get it going here. We've already got 6 people on.
All right.
We got a top 40.
Top 40. Ooh.
We might be able. You never know.
We got 40 live last week and over close to 2,000 views last week.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it just depends. Like
a lot of them gonna be watching the football game right now.
Yeah, we had Chiefs and Bills on last week during the time, and we were good.
As I forgot, the game was on. Yeah. Hope you guys are ready for that tier talk. Linebackers.
Yeah. Ooh. I am. I got my list.
I have my list, but man, now the list was supposed to be in our generation that we saw, correct? Okay.
Yes, correct.
I also
just whoever you think. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you saw them or not, I just always go with the people that
you said Eric.
Yeah.
What about college?
We kept it at NFL, but if you want to throw a college guy in there, you can.
The boss. You always have to mention the boss.
Yeah.
He was a freak of nature.
He was a freak of nature in college. Yes. He was good.
Why do I always remember, though, when he played for the Seahawks when Bo Jackson ran him over in the end zone?
Because that was the end of his career. That was it.
Yes, it was. It was the end. That was when he ran him over. It's like, dude, I don't know. Bo Jackson. Yeah.
Different. I wish this generation could have watched him play because, man, he was good.
Yeah, it's kind of like Coach Coy talking about like the LeBron and Jordan era.
Yeah,
the kids take LeBron because they never saw Jordan play.
Yeah,
in such different eras.
In different era, different rules, different. I mean, you couldn't have went down the lane back then without getting clothesline. Now you get even close, you get a foul called on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
All right, we ready to kick it off, JP?
My man, let's go. D Money Coy.
All right. Welcome. Another episode of Beyond the Scoreboard podcast. This is episode number 3. We have a couple special guests tonight that we're going to have on. Last week we had Coach Lower. It was a good episode. We ended up having close to 2,000 views throughout the week, and as people that weren't watching live, they were able to kick on and get there. We encourage everyone to follow our Beyond the Scoreboard page. We'll update who we're having on and throw some random stuff on there throughout the week. So make sure you follow that. JP and I also are talking about maybe a little, maybe getting a little t-shirts or merchandise type stuff going possibly. Anybody wants to buy a shirt, let us know in the comments and we can hook you up maybe.
We got to give the guests a free t-shirt though.
Yeah, I get. Well, we're not gonna make any money if we give away a bunch of free shirts, though.
Well, we did the first couple. We
did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
What the
heck? I'm trying to make money off this. Right? All right. So we have first guest. We have Coach Mike Allen from Gibson City Melvin Sibley High School. Coach Allen, would you like to introduce yourself? Kind of give a little background of how you went up in the coaching ranks and what you're doing now, and we'll get rolling here.
Sure. I'm originally from Gibson City. Moved out to Amarillo, Texas, for about 6 years, and then went my last 2 years in Paxton. Then went to Eureka College. Got hurt in football, and so had to set out. And then I started taking classes, and I became an assistant volleyball coach for the college, a student coach, and then I was a student assistant for the basketball program, men's program. And didn't really do anything for football the rest of college. Just did volleyball and basketball. Taught in Morris, Illinois for 5 years. Taught PE there. Again, it was middle school, so I did basketball, baseball, and track. And then had an opportunity to come to Gibson City and coach under Vic Jennings, a Hall of Fame coach here. Coach underneath him for 4 years before he retired, and then was fortunate enough to take over here. And then I'm the athletic director and assistant principal at GCMS High School.
How long were you head coach for?
21 years.
21. Wow.
Yeah, and I got his record and all that. He's too humble to say all his accolades.
I don't know it. I really don't know it.
We'll talk about all those as we go on in the show. Don't worry.
I saw it on the itinerary. I know what's coming up. So I just wanted to see if he would give a little bit of info, but he's not. So
Yeah.
I really don't know.
Sorry. You're a liar. All right. Well, we before we get into those accolades and all of Coach Allen's good stats, we do have another special guest we want to bring on. We have someone by the name of Knox Coit. That'd be my son. He's been dying to get a little segment on the podcast here. So we have some questions that we're going to ask Knox. I'm going to mainly have JP ask the questions. Coach Allen, you can chime in as well if you'd like. And I'm just going to kind of maybe direct Knox if he needs it, but I think he's going to be good. Knox, you want to come on over here, please?
Uh-oh.
All right. Here he
Make
is,
way for the
JP.
big man.
With Knox.
What's up, Knox?
What's up?
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. But I got I got a question to start off, and then I'm gonna, I'll let everybody else go back and forth. But I'm gonna do an icebreaker for you, okay? All right. So what grade are you in?
Good.
Third grade. So tell me this, and I remember those days in third grade. Lunch was the best time of the day. So what is your go-to lunch at school?
Cheese Bosco sticks.
Bosco sticks. Okay. I like
Nice.
it.
It's a pretty
All
good
right.
one.
I'll take
But
that.
do you do any dipping sauce with that or just plain
Yeah, marinara sauce.
marinara sauce?
Marinara.
There
Okay.
you go. Our high school kids like those also, so that's a pretty good choice.
Is that they have that now at school?
Yeah.
Man.
Just
I don't-
bread with cheese in the middle.
Oh. Why didn't we ever
Basic.
get that? Man. That's not all right, man. That was the icebreaker. But my first question is, tell me this. What is your favorite sport and why?
Football.
All right.
Why?
Why is that though?
Yeah, say it. Yeah, to play. Like
Oh.
what?
Because it's fun and it's fun. You can make friends and stuff.
All right.
There you go.
You like
Fun
to
and
hit
make
people?
friends.
Well, I play flag football, so
Oh,
can't really hit.
you can't do that yet.
No.
Okay. Favorite. So tell me then, what's your favorite position then for flag football?
QB.
You got a good arm like Big Ben did back in the day, or
I don't care about Big
All right.
Ben.
So we had Coach Allen, every time Stenda says Big Ben, he's got to do a push-up.
I was about to say I'm waiting for push-ups here.
He's-
Hey, I just want to know if you had an arm like Ben, like he did back in the prime. That's all I'm wondering.
No.
I got you. Okay. So football is it football because your dad's the head football coach at Comanche?
No, it's because I like football in general.
Is that going to be your sport long term? You think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like it, man. You're a football family, then, correct?
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
So
Hey, Knox,
All right.
I have a question.
All right, there you go.
Okay.
Knox, I have a question for you.
Okay.
If you and Grandpa Coit were racing, who would win?
I will.
Do you have to give him a head start even?
Yeah. I give
Yeah.
him like a 5-second head start.
5 seconds. Papa Coit used to be pretty fast.
Yes.
I don't know if he is anymore, but
I beat somebody
I'm
I give like somebody like a 5-second head start in a race, and I still beat them.
Papa Coit story. He probably has told people this, but when I was younger, he beat me at running while I was on my bike. So he can move. He can move back in the day.
Yeah.
He had some wheels.
Yep.
Man, I like it. So,
All right, let's give Knox one more question, and then we'll go on.
Coach Allen, you got one for him, or do you want me to come with one?
Go ahead. You have questions written down, please.
All right. So, who, as a professional athlete, doesn't matter what sport, Knox, but who do you look up to as a professional sports player?
Who's your favorite professional sport player? You got an answer?
Justin Fields.
Justin
Fields.
Because he plays for the Bears, huh?
Bears. Yep.
Yep.
Does your dad let you watch any other teams besides the Bears play?
I watch some other teams.
You get tired of do you get tired of watching them lose or what?
No.
Oh.
I like them kind of losing because then they get better draft picks. And then they're better team
Okay.
then.
Yeah. You and okay, I get where you're coming from here. Okay. All right. So Justin Fields, he's your man. I got you. Are they going to keep Justin Fields?
Yes.
Okay. I believe you.
All right. Thanks, Knox. Thanks for joining us.
See you, Knox.
You may be a guest in the future.
Okay.
All right. Good job, buddy. See you later.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming
Now
on,
go to bed.
dude.
See you, bye.
Night.
Night.
All right. Before we keep rolling here, some of the comments there. Brian Hamilton, what QB with their? We're going to talk about the NFL here in a little bit, but and then Casey Schmidt, don't say Big Ben. That's funny on the quarterback. But Coach Weber, Judy Weber Jones is in the house again. So Coach Allen, we're going to fire off some questions for you. So
Okay.
I did say that I would share your accolades and your record. So you say you don't know what your record is. I'll tell you it. I wrote it down. I'm going to look off my sheet, but just to make sure I'm right. So 144-72 was your career record. That is the most wins in school history, Gibson City, GCMS, all that. 15 playoff appearances in 21 years, 2-time state champion, and a Illinois High School Football Coaches Association Hall of Famer.
Ooh.
So Coach Allen's accolades are pretty impressive. And probably what's even more impressive with those stats is, and I was part of these teams here, but Coach Allen's first 3 seasons as head coach, he was 4-23, I believe. And I'll never forget, there was a quote in the paper that Coach Allen said if he didn't go to the playoffs in his 4th year, he's going to fire himself because he was the AD. Is that true, Coach Allen? Did you say that?
I told the team that I would step aside if we didn't make the playoffs. I don't know if I put it in the paper.
Okay. I couldn't remember if it was in the paper, if you told the team or what, but
we told the team.
Yeah, but he had he's pretty confident that they were going to get there. So my question to you, Coach Allen, so those first 3 years obviously weren't great, and you turned it on, you figured it out. So what changed from those first 3 years that led to all the success that you had over your career?
Well, it's how you define great also, because those 3 years were invaluable. The things we learned in those years as a coaching staff, as a players, as a program, what we can do, what we couldn't do. We took a lot of things away from those first 3 years and learned from them. But the main thing was our youth program. is ran very well. And then our weight program, our kids bought into it. Our kids bought into it. Eating right, staying out of trouble. That's the thing. Also, being assistant principal, if those an athletic director, if they got in trouble, they had to come to my office. So that wasn't fun for them because it was punishing school, then out on the football field. So we're able to keep a lot of things, keep kids out of trouble, doing the right things. Once they did that, and once they bought in, it was a matter of pride. And this year's team wanted to do better than last year's team, and they just wanted to up the team behind them. But really, the weight room, the youth program, the coaching staff, and then the kids. When you have to have good kids, you've heard it, Jimmys and Joes. We had a lot of Jimmys, and they played well. So I think that those are the big things that really the weight room and youth football, the kids coming up prepared and being coached the right way down at the lower levels.
Yeah, because I mean, growing up in Gibson City, we didn't even have youth football when I was growing up. You either had to go to like Ridgeview or somewhere else. I don't even think we had flag football, did we?
No, there was no.
We had nothing. So my first like actual like tackle football was when I was a freshman in high school. So I think that really wasn't obviously good for our group because we're going in as high schoolers. We learning the game and we didn't even know how to tackle going in as freshmen. So we were kind of behind the 8 ball. And now everywhere has youth programs and some are starting as early as first grade. So, but yeah, so I would agree weight room and all that helps a ton for sure.
Yeah. The 2004 team that made the playoffs, they were the first team that went through youth football and they were 8th graders when it started, but they had that experience and they were an athletic group and it paid off. And from that point on, it just kind of carried over.
Did you, Coach Allen, when you established the youth program, did you have a lot to say in like who was coaching at those lower levels?
And it was established before I got here. Coach Jennings was head coach, I think 1 or 2 years before when it started. I was on the board the whole time, and then I was president for probably the last 8 or 9, 10 years maybe of the youth football. So, yeah, we had a lot. We had at certain times we had half the board might have been coaches on our high school staff.
Okay.
So we're able to do things, find people, the right coaches to put in place. I lived right behind their practice was right behind my house. So I'd come home from high school practices and see a lot of things going on. And there's times where we talked about different things, what we should do, what we shouldn't do as far as drill wise and things like that. But we're fortunate to have good people in place and it really paid off for us.
I think I know we've talked about that a little bit, Coach Coy, but I think that's important. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like do you guys feel like the head coach should have, I feel like if I was a parent, I feel like, the head coach should be the guy being like, no, this guy is not the right guy to be coaching these 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th graders.
Well,
like you should have your hand in the cookie jar.
The most important level at any program is wherever you start at, and we start in 3rd and 4th with tackling. So if they have a bad experience there, they're never coming back out for football. So
right.
We've lost them in 3rd grade, because someone's putting winning more important or playing certain kids. That level is just like your freshman level in high school. Those are the most important levels because if they don't like it, then they're not going to stick around for more.
Right. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, I agree. And in Iowa, the 7th and 8th grades kind of affiliated with the school. So I know in Illinois, it's kind of more like a junior tackle or JFL or what's the league you're in, Coach Allen, the CIFL or no,
CIFL,
CIFL. So like, those are not necessarily like within the school. So we get a lot of times other teachers that also coach middle school. So there's times, and honestly, it's hard at times because it's hard to find coaches. At least for us it is right now. So sometimes we just, have to go with what we got. But yeah, we want to obviously try to make sure we're getting people in there that are competent and helping kids out, and not only, teaching them stuff, but making sure it's fun for them as well.
Yeah. I've had a couple of coaches call and ask me, you know, hey, let's meet. We want to get rid of our youth program. And the first question I ask is if they're involved with them. You know, and a lot of times they aren't because it's such a busy schedule that we're dealing with. But I think you have to make time if you're carrying, you know, if you want to build the program, it has to start down there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Going into weight room, I see Jamie Sexton on the comments said BFS. I'm assuming he's talking about bigger, faster, stronger. Do you guys still do that?
No, we don't do that. He's being a smart aleck. No,
Okay, I was just making sure
No,
because
I
we
do
did
like-
that. We first, I remember when we first started
Yeah.
getting in the weight room, we were doing bigger, faster, stronger.
I still like.
I know not a lot of schools do that anymore, but
I still like a lot of parts of what they did. You know, the tracking and everything. But
yeah,
Coach Biffeld actually, we took some BFS ideas, and then Coach Biffeld built an incredible weight program that we used for, you know, the last 8 years or so, and all those sports used it. We just used it in the weight room, and it was an all body, you know, lift, and it was a great workout. We still have it, but you know, they're using something else right now.
yeah.
But no BFS. Coach
We did
Sexton.
that.
Yeah, I did. I was just making
No.
sure. Like I haven't heard of very many schools still doing that. So, but that was an old school approach for
It
sure.
was, yeah, yep,
So what was
absolutely.
it? 3 by there's like 3x10, 3x8, 3x5,
Yeah.
3x3.
Oh yeah,
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 breaking the records, all the records you break every day.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Get your
Well, I'm
one rep
pretty sure-
max. You know, you do like 215x3, and it's like, oh, you could do 250.
Yeah.
You put 250 on. I was like, no, you're not doing 250, man. You ain't
Yeah.
doing it.
And I'm pretty sure we had like journals or something with it too, or like a binder that we
Yeah,
write in.
Yeah,
well,
that
but-
you had your folder with your
Yeah.
paperwork for each of those
Yep.
workouts. That wasn't a bad program. It wasn't a bad program.
All right, we'll take your word for it. But it's all good.
It worked then.
Yes.
So okay, my next question, Coach Allen, and you may have answered it briefly, but so you obviously maintained a winning culture when you were head coach there. Like what are some things that you did to like maintain that winning culture to make sure that you're still having quality seasons throughout each year that you coached?
I think the main thing we did was continue to have fun. You know, we made it where, you know, our goal was the kids to, after when that bell rang, to run out to football practice excited to be there. You know, we weren't running them to death. We made it fun and exciting. We had music, you know, at practice, running the whole time during practice while we're talking, it's running. We let the kids be kids. You know, we weren't so demanding of their time where it was just football. You know, we get 25 contact days during the summer. I think the most we ever used was 12 because we wanted those kids fresh come August. Now they lifted all summer, but we didn't go to camps. We had our own camp here. We had probably 3 or 4 dates where we did 7-on-7, so we didn't burn them out. And I think that was a key. And they enjoyed the weight room. We let them have fun in the weight room and just build a camaraderie there. And the things that we built, you know, before 2-day practices, they'd have their trucks or cars, they'd have their couches and recliners in the back seat. They'd go to Buffalo Wild Wings. It was just stuff that, and I think that we treat them with respect, and I think they appreciated that and you know, enjoyed coming to practice because they were treated fairly.
Well, I would think practice, like, you know, I think back to those days, like, yeah, I mean, you feel like some kids dreaded that. And I feel like that's a big part because, you know, you don't get better. You don't get anywhere if you don't, you know, practice. So I feel like that's probably a big reason why they were probably like you're successful because they're excited to come to practice where most kids are like, I just want to play.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't know the game, you know, and you haven't practiced.
Yeah. We had a coach that I really looked up to when I started in 1 year in the playoffs. They weren't in. He called and said, "Hey, can we come watch your practice?" Our staff. I said, "Coach, you're not going to learn anything." And he came, and I think what he did probably take away was we weren't tight. We were kind of loose, you know, and water breaks or doing punt contests, whatever. But when it was time to practice, they practiced.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, again, we had the athletes that can do that at that time, but it was fun. We had fun as coaching staff. We joked around a lot. We didn't take a lot of things too serious. We knew that it was high school football, and if we treated these kids right and did the right things, that we're going to put them in a position to win.
Right. Absolutely.
Sure. Coach Allen, I believe your daughter, Peyton Allen, she's on here on the comments. She's saying, go
Oh,
Mr. Mike Allen. And she likes your answers too.
thanks, Peyton.
And
She must, her boyfriend's probably wanting to watch. She didn't want to watch.
oh, gotcha. Well, she's commenting. So,
Yeah.
we have a question. Ryan Jordan, he asked in the comments, he goes, how much does community buy-in matter compared to just player buy-in? How would you answer that, Coach Allen?
Big, real big, and something we talked a lot about all the time was, serving our community and serving others in our community. Whether it be the food pantry or people call us up to move things. We moved several people when they were moving out of their houses, or just whenever we were needed, we were there and get our name out in the community. People used to always say we have T-shirts all the time. Well, that was part of the plan, is to get as many shirts and football shirts out there as you can. So when you walk around the community, you see football T-shirts at a lot of places. You want to promote your program, and when we tell our kids, and we had some problems, a couple of years, and kids were getting in trouble, and I flat out told them, people don't want to come to games and support turds, and you have to do things right, otherwise you're not going to get that support. And when our kids did the right things, when they're out in the community supporting the community, man, people came and supported us. After the championships, both championships, we walked downtown, and that was cool. 1,000 people downtown greeting the kids in the street, and that's when I could tell our community had bought in and they appreciated what our kids had done. But that's big, because you have your youth programs, your youth. You have to have people in place that people trust, that that they're going to be coached and taught the right way, and just kids out in the community. You want to represent your program in the right way.
Yeah. Well, Coach Coit, like I'll ask you, since he's kind of saying what I think you'll probably say, but like Comanche, like you take over a program that hasn't been that successful, and then now you have to find a way. Like I felt like when I was there, like once we like started winning games at the JV level, like the stands started to fill up.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the varsity hadn't even won a game yet.
Yeah.
But like they were packed and it was like electric. And then you're like, if we can just win a game or two at the varsity level, and then you have these people that, the Joe Smoes walk around town are like, hey, they won a game. But you could probably speak on that at Comanche, or both of you have been through that. Like, I would think that's once you just get a little spark, it gets you going, like where it's like, man, you can kind of take off with it and run with it.
Yeah. I mean, people like winners too, like if you're winning games, more people are going to come, obviously, but
Absolutely.
you have to start somewhere. And I mean, Coach Allen can probably attest to this too. Like, obviously when you're talking about his state championship teams, those dudes were talented. I went to a couple of those games in those years, and those guys were really good. And I mean, obviously having good players helps, but you also have to have those good players buy into what you're doing. If you have good players and they're not buying into what you're doing, then you're not going to win state championships, and you're not going to maybe go as far as you should. But and then the community also has to support, because the parents are part of the community too, so parents are supporting what we're doing as coaches, and kind of letting them tell their kids the same thing we are, and then it's going to be better for them as well. But yeah, I mean, I think it helps to win. People want to come watch people win games, and like also what Coach Allen said, like you also have to be like good people too. If you're getting in trouble or you're being a jerk to people in the community as a student athlete, then people may not come to your game, or you might lose a family, that doesn't come to your game that normally would, or something like that. But and we do some volunteering with the community. I mean, we help set up our Comanche days at Platt Park and do different things like that, just to get people to see us out there and helping other people out when they need it too. So I think that helps too. And if you're helping other people out in the community, they're going to want to come help you out by watching you play. So I think that's important. Yeah.
Like the winning, once they trust the process, the kids have to buy in and trust the process. And that's a big key too. And you have to get the families to buy in and the community to trust the process also. It doesn't happen overnight. Not like Coach Coit. You can't come in and just take over a program and have success immediately all the time like he did.
I
You know,
didn't.
but
It wasn't immediately.
it was pretty
We
close to me.
we
Now,
we were 1-8, 4-5
huh?
my first 2 years. So
Okay, what you do year 3?
year 3 we were 6-3. Year 4 we were 9-2
Yeah,
semifinals.
yeah,
And then
semifinals year 4. That's
yeah,
pretty amazing.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty quick, man.
Yeah, that's pretty quick.
Who was you paying? You paying the rat? Like, what was you doing? You getting part of the scripted rig stuff or
I
what?
got the script that year. We'll go into that in a little bit here.
I had to throw it in there, man. You set
Jeez,
yourself up for that one, dude.
We'll get there. Don't worry. I'm gonna go to the comments real quick, and then we have a couple other people that did bigger, faster, stronger too. Brandon Dierks from Fulton there. So Gail Grimm said this is for Coach Allen. Said, could Coach Coit sling the football back in his day? He has quite the rep as a scout QB here in Comanche.
He could throw it and scramble. He was a dual threat back there. So
Really?
yeah, he was a dual threat. He was a quarterback, and then we had to shore up our offense, and so we had to move him to running back later. And he was a very good athlete, but he could throw the ball. He could throw the football and baseball. Both very good athlete, very athletic in both sports.
What was his 40-yard dash time? Do you remember?
We won't talk about that.
No way he remembers that.
No, I don't remember. There's no way. Probably I would say probably
21 years ago.
4.6, 4.7. You think?
I was like 4.66, I think 4.65 or something like that. Was
What?
my
Are you
best.
being serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
serious.
I was gonna say like 5 flat.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, man. I just wondered. Okay.
Man.
I
Wasn't
heard
a
it from the
lineman.
head
with you.
horse, man. He told me so. I believe you.
Off air, I'll tell you the true time, but I just want to make them.
Oh, that's
All right.
great.
Well, one more Coach Allen question, and then we'll get into the NFL talk real quick. So now, Coach Allen, you're retired, obviously from coaching. You're still assistant principal and AD, but looking back on like your coaching, what is one thing you could tell like the viewers what impacted you most as a coach, or what's the one thing that just after you retired, what you reflect back on most as a coach?
It impacted me the most as a coach might have been advice I got from Chuck Aubrey, who was my former principal in Morrison, former superintendent here, good friend. You spend so much time watching game film and preparing. Sometimes you over prepare and you overthink and overanalyze everything. And he told me one time, focus on what you do good and get better at it. Don't worry so much about what the other team does. Worry about what you guys can get better at. And that's what we really tried to do. And I didn't watch as much game film my last 10 years probably because I wanted to focus on what we were doing. We were focusing on so much how to stop other teams and what they were doing. We kind of left out time to really build upon what we were doing. Impact, though, was really the relationships with the kids, with the coaches, with the officials. And you're going to see this with Knox. You've already seen it. There's officials that saw my kids grow up, from little kids up to when they graduate and officiated their last game. Keegan, last game, ran by the official after he threw a touchdown pass and patted him on the butt. And it was just fun things like that. The relationship, friendships that you build over the years. When you go to another town or community and you see people that from coaching, guys that were on the chain crew. I have a guy up in El Paso that's been on the chain crew for probably 30 years that I love the guy to death. Every time we see him, we talk, and it's stuff like that I miss. Camaraderie with the coaches in the locker room before practice or before a game or after a game. Those are things you miss. And the impact, though, the relationships definitely has to be the biggest impact looking back at a coaching.
Yeah, and I think when we had Coach Lower on last week, he he's still coaching, but he kind of mentioned kind of the same thing, building the relationships and all that. And I just look back, like Coach Allen obviously was my high school coach, and we still talk pretty frequently, every once in a while texting and stuff. And when it was the COVID year, Illinois wasn't playing football. They played in the spring, and we in Iowa were playing in the fall, and that was our semifinal run. And Coach Allen came to a couple of our games. He drove 3 hours with him and a couple of his coaching staff members and coming to watch us play. So that meant the world to me that my high school coach would would drive 3 hours, and then he didn't stay. He went home. So he drove 6 hours round trip just to come watch one of my games. So that's huge, and something I'll never forget as I grow old and all that too. So,
and to me, to travel 20 minutes on the other side of the border when we couldn't play football was ridiculous, but that's time for another story.
Yeah.
But
I know.
that to come and watch a former player have the success that Coach Coit was having and to see what he's done, that was that's part of the things of the relationships and impact that that was cool to be able to do.
No doubt.
Building the dynasties.
All right, JP, you want to get into some NFL talk here?
What you got? You go first. What you got
well-
popped up first?
Well, obviously, I mean, the NFC Championship game's going on right now. It's tie game, 24-24. I got it in the background here, but the Lions were up 24-7, and the Niners have came back to tie it here. So you made a post on Facebook
Yeah.
earlier today that you, after watching the Ravens and the Chiefs, that you think that the NFL is rigged. Can you please explain to the viewers why you think the NFL is rigged?
Well, before we get in, I'm gonna ask you guys: do you think there's any part, and be honest, do you think there's any part of the NFL that's scripted? And so we won't say rigged. I should have said scripted. That's probably a better word. But do you think there's any part of the NFL that's scripted?
I'm going to say no. I'm on the no, 100% no bandwagon here. Coach Allen, what do you think?
I heard something this week that the NFL wants the Chiefs to get there, so Taylor Swift, her and her Swifties will have all those fans. So I don't know. There were some calls today that kind of were questionable, but I hope not. And I'll say I don't think so, but it does fill up some questions that you have to answer.
What, Coach Allen? What? Throw me a play today that you just thought was like, okay, like. Why is this happening, or that never should have happened, or
I thought a couple of the one unsportsmanlike penalty that Travis Kelce, he pushed someone and then someone came in and bumped him, and they'd let that go all day. And I thought that was a critical point. I thought that was ticky tack.
yep,
I thought there was a couple unsportsmanlike, but I also thought that the Chiefs got in the Ravens' heads and pushed them into those stupid penalties also.
yeah.
So,
Well, no, they had where was that one taunting play? Who was the receiver for the Ravens?
Oh. Zay Flowers, that was 100% taunting.
yeah,
It was, and I'll say that.
Yeah.
But you go back to
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna. This is the play that I just think for whatever reason, Lamar throws that ball into triple coverage. You're down by. I think they're down by. Were they down by 10 or 7?
They're down, I think it was 7 or
Was
10, maybe
7?
10. Maybe,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
And he has not done that all year. And I mean, he can run, he can elude everyone. And I feel like so just in that moment, and everything up to that was you had the what was it, like he said, there was like the roughing the passer, where the Chiefs is 3rd and long, and he hits him. It's like, okay, you could call it or not, but they do flag it. Flowers drops the ball in the end zone, which you could say, yeah, he did fumble, but it's like, why did he fumble it? It's not like they punched the ball out. It's like
He hit his.
Oh, he punched that out there.
dude.
Yeah,
He
I
hit the
don't
ball.
know,
Look at the
man.
replay. Stendo.
yeah, he punched that one out on that
He
goal.
punched
I
that
don't-
out.
Yeah,
100%.
Dude, you look at it, it's like, I don't know. But that pass that he threw into triple coverage and the receiver was putting his hand up, which I don't even know why he was, because he had 3 guys on him. And I just felt like at that point, I was like, dude, how many opportunities did they have to win the game or go ahead, tie it? And at that point, I was like, man, no. I mean, like you said, Coach Coit made a good point. He said, everybody has bad games. I'm like, why is it always Lamar Jackson when it's in the big game? Like, yeah, he doesn't come through. It's like, he didn't play a bad game. I didn't think he did. But that throw there on the triple coverage, I thought, man, he looked like he was just like, oh, what? Oh, man, I'm just going to throw. Who cares? Because they could have easily – they were in field goal range, kick the field goal, hold them on defense, come back and score, and you tie the game up.
they didn't utilize his legs like they did last week. I thought that was something, a weapon that they was to their advantage last week, and they didn't use him that much today.
They
Right.
completely abandoned the run game.
Uh-huh.
They can't. So this is, I don't know. They
But why
came
do you
into
think they abandoned it? Because they didn't want
weren't-
them to win.
well.
They told them, like, here's the
stop.
script, dude. You ain't
Jeez.
running the ball because you
Chiefs
do.
aren't- If the Chiefs aren't playing in the Super Bowl, all those Swifties and all those Taylor Swift fans are not watching it. That's it.
I get that, but like
There's a lot of money involved there.
no, the Ravens' game plan was not great offensively. They come into they lead the NFL in rushing yards and rushing attempts. And I think they rushed the ball like 15 times, and 8 of them were by Lamar. So like, yeah, they didn't do what they normally do. I don't know why. I don't think it's scripted or rigged. I just think sometimes NFL coaches, and just like, I mean, high school coaches, college coaches do this too, but they overthink stuff. Like, especially in a big game.
Yeah.
Like you overthink, like, oh no, we're down 10, so we need to throw the ball. No, you don't. I mean, you can still establish a run game and get that going, I think, but they didn't do that. I don't know why. You'd have to ask Todd Monkman, the OC for the Ravens. I didn't, but Monkman, yeah, or whatever. But yeah, and as far as throwing in triple coverage, so these guys are playing a game, Stenda,
Yeah.
right?
I watch football. I know.
Think of any game that you've ever played. Like, you've made a mistake in that game before, right?
I've made, like, you're saying just each game.
No, just general, like in any game. Don't have to be a football game. Could be a baseball game. Could be a card game. You made a mistake, and you're not getting a script about that mistake you made, right?
No, but as big as that moment
like
was,
NFL guys can't make mistakes or don't make mistakes.
No, but as big as that moment was, and the circumstances behind that, I felt like, again, I think, it's I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it.
It's going on in the NBA. Officials have came out and said it. It's been an issue there. So if it's happening in the NBA, it very well could happen in the NFL.
Who was the guy? Remember back when, like, was it, Kobe and Iverson, that guy that got indicted, and they were talking about how Allen Iverson gets called. They said they never called the palming violation, but because Iverson gave him crap, so now they call. I mean, I think there's a lot to do with the Vegas odds, the money line, and I think that plays a lot with officiating and I mean, look at some of the tackles that people show after the games. They're like, how did they not make the tackle on this play? And they show 3 or 4 guys that they're at the 12, 15-yard line, and they could have made the tackle. And it looks like they just dive at their legs, like try to make it look like. In real time, it's like, oh, man, you just didn't make the tackle. Then you go back and you look at it, and you're like, whoa, here, like, what? You're at the highest level that there is, and you couldn't make that play. You'd make it any other time, but you're not going to this time because I don't know.
It's hard to tackle, for one.
I would agree. Sure.
2, it like Christian McCaffrey running the ball, like he's hard to tackle, right? Even Montgomery or Gibbs or all them. So like these guys are gonna miss tackles. It's not, they're not. I don't know.
How's
the rig script thing is so ridiculous in my opinion.
I mean, you haven't really made a great argument for it, but you're just saying it's not. That's just your opinion. I agree to disagree.
How do you rig or script this many plays in a game? They're running like 160 plays in a game, roughly. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like,
think about those guys that have come out and talked about it. They have talked about, they get the script at the beginning of the year before the season starts, and they script those plays, who they're playing, and that's what they practice before the season starts. And then they go into season.
Those are players that aren't relevant. Those are players that are trying to make a name for themselves after they retire. Think about that too.
Taunting, the Baltimore Ravens get called for taunting, but then Travis Kelce hops up and he throws the ball and puts his arm up, and that's not taunting. That would be my son Keegan's argument. He thought the officials were bad. They were rigged.
They are, and he gets a lot. I mean, and the Taylor Swift thing, it's funny that all these people on social media are like, I read somebody on my page, and he's a good guy, but he says, why are all these people getting upset? Taylor Swift has done so much for the economy. What do you mean? What has she done for the economy by her going to an NFL game? all those players, are they making any money off of her being there? No, they're not. The
Maybe
NFL
Travis
is.
The
Kelce.
NFL is.
The NFL is. The players, they've already got their contracts. You got guys making the, like Brock Purdy making nothing. Like, so it's like they say she's doing a lot. It's like, well, what does it do? Travis Kelce and her highlighted, and now all these fans, it's billions of dollars of revenue for the NFL, and it's all highlighted on her. What if they don't win? It's like, well, then we don't have Taylor Swift at the Super Bowl. Now we got her at the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Now, whether they win or not the Super Bowl, at this point, it won't matter because she was there, and that's all that matters.
So Super Bowl might be legit then this year.
But maybe it will be. I mean, we're going to find out. Yeah, exactly.
My
I just
wife
wanna-
thinks the Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce thing's just a big publicity stunt, and they're not really together. But
See, I think they're in love.
I think so too. I
Do
think
you,
they are.
you guys both think they're in love?
Yeah, they're in love.
Heck yeah.
I think Travis Kelce's girlfriend before her is much better looking. I mean, maybe because Taylor's worth like what $1.2 billion, but again, the publicity part, I
would love to go to a game with Jason Kelce though. I think that would be pretty fun.
Yeah. That
yes,
would be fun.
He'd show you how to drink some beer, wouldn't he?
Jump onto a table.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
So-
would definitely drink us under the table.
I'll move on. You can move on. You guys go next. But I want to, on this game though, for like the Ravens, their defense, one of the top 3 defenses in the NFL. I think you guys would agree with that. From their front 7 to your corners, Hamilton, Humphrey, Kelce, this was probably a down year for Kelce based on statistics up until now. He has 11 catches today. And you're telling me that their best player that they only have on offense is really Kelce, because they don't really have a true number one really anymore. Once Tyreek left, Kelsey's kind of their guy. He has 11 catches. You let him catch 11 balls for 120 yards. I mean,
Wide open sometimes.
Yeah,
It's because the Ravens, they were playing zone though. They're playing zone defense. They're blitzing with a zone behind it a lot of times. And Kelce and Mahomes are the best probably ever to find open areas in a zone, and Mahomes is looking for him. So I don't know why. I don't know why you play zone against him.
Yeah, how could you leave that guy with 9 catches? His last 2 catches, he was wide open. It's like, how could you leave that wide open?
I could, like, after watching a couple, like he had like one that was like a corner route, like in between, the whatever safety in the corner. And I was like, dude, like it wasn't even, there was nobody like 15 yards. I'm like, how do you leave that guy? Like, to me, and that's where like I just start. I'm a big conspiracy theorist guy. So I'm like, oh, dude, there's no way. Because that would be a guy, wouldn't you? You guys, you're both coaches. Wouldn't you be like, that's your best player on the field? Like, wouldn't you think like you always have somebody on him, if not doubling him?
Yeah, I mean,
you better know where he is at that point in the game.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I mean, we this year we bracketed a receiver, and I'd never really done that before. But then their quarterback ran for like 300 yards on us. But anyway, it's a different story. But we adjusted, but still, I don't know how he's so open either. It's a good question. All right, you good on your NFL rig talks?
That was it. I want to hear what you guys said. I like Coach Allen's responses a lot better. I'm going to say that.
Well,
because he's behind me a little
I want to say something on this mic right now. Well, in the comments, my wife agrees with you, Coach Allen. So
yeah.
All right. And Mrs. Coit agrees too. What does she think?
With Coach Allen, I'm not sure which statement exactly, but she said I agree with that, Coach Allen. So
okay, I'll take it.
And then some other Steve Clements, who won the Chiefs Ravens game. He's a big Chiefs fan, so he's being a smart, you know what. But Jeff Newman's an official, and he's on the board that it's not scripted or rigged. So I got one fan there.
Newman, I think is he? Where does he coach at? Northeast.
Newman's he doesn't coach. He's an official. His daughter goes to Comanche now, though.
Oh, okay. I think his oldest daughter was we graduated together, Eric.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know about that, but
Newman, yeah, he coached back in the day, or refed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's still refing. All right, Coach Allen, questions for you now. So a couple of these, I think you've already answered that I had down, but I do want to ask you. So, how did you approach when you had a athlete that may have been on the fence of whether or not they wanted to go out for football or something like that? Like, what are some of the things you told them, or how did you approach that? So, thinking of like a good athlete that you need on your team, you want on your team, and he isn't sure if he's going to play or not, what would you do?
Uh, I have two answers because we had that happen to a couple of key players one year. We, especially the younger kids, we always told them to, come to camp. We have a summer camp. Come to camp. It's 2 hours a night. It's pretty laid back. See if you like it. You're out a week. If you don't like it, all you've lost is that week. A lot of times those kids, coach, you were at our camps. We had fun there. We played games. We went over fundamentals, but we made sure everybody had fun. And a lot of kids, we would convince them to try to come to that. Come to the summer stuff, 7-on-7 stuff. And then we treat them like human beings. Just because they didn't play football didn't mean we didn't stop talking to them or something like that. I'm not going to say where, but I heard stories of a coach when a kid didn't play football, he walked by him in the hallway and called him a name. And I just thought, how that doesn't fly. So we treat them like human beings. We support them in other things. We had a couple of kids that played on the state championship, didn't come out their junior or sophomore year. They played basketball still, played other sports. We supported them, talked to them in the hallway, kept our relationships going with them, and they ended up coming back out their junior and senior year. We didn't close that door on them, and I think that's the main thing. You get frustrated when they don't play. You love the sport, you're committing everything, giving everything. You want everyone else to, and not everyone is at that place at the same time. And sometimes you have to walk away to appreciate, what you walked away from. And that, luckily for us, fortunately for us, it happened because those were two key players on our state run.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we got most of the kids that need to be out, but there's always, maybe one or two in a class that you want, you need, but and you don't want to like make it where you're like following them like a puppy, like a puppy dog, like, come on, why are you not going out? Why are you, but just still show them that, you care about them, support them in the other sports, and then hopefully they return the favor for you too. I agree with that. It's good statement there.
We and we learn from mistakes because we used to, hey, you're not playing, come on out. We'd talk to kids, and sometimes kids take that as you're begging them to come out. And if you beg me to come out, you better play me. And that's not always the case. So we didn't beg. We always just had the open door policy. We'd love for you to come out, but everything's going to be earned. But we just want them to, sometimes going over and telling someone, hey, going to the house, we'd love for you to play. Sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes, if you have to beg a kid, do they really want to be there? And if they don't really want to be there, how are they going to help the team and how are they going to help the culture? So,
yep.
So like if you like for both of you guys, if you had to beg a kid, like do you feel like if you begged them and they're like, all right, I'll finally go out, they're just gonna expect, well, you begged me, so I'm gonna be playing?
Yes. I mean that happened before, talk to kids and parents are like, well, you came to talk to them, you wanted them to play, you begged them to play. We didn't beg them to play, we just came and talked to them maybe.
Right.
And it's tough because you see a coach come to talk to your son, he must really want him to play, and not just to play football, but to experience football, to be around the guys and experience the whole part of it. Football is a numbers game, but you also want quality kids out there also.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I tell kids a lot, like just give us a shot. Just give us a shot in high school. Like if you maybe had a bad experience as a 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grader or whatever, and just give us a shot for a year. And if you absolutely don't like it, then hey, you tried it. We're glad you did it, but maybe it's not for you type thing. But I always tell people, and I know Stenda, you can do this too because you played football and you've coached it too. But like you can't explain to someone who's never like played football, like the camaraderie and the relationships that you build, and just the overall like emotional connection you get with the team and the players and the coaches. Like it's, I don't know, it's so hard to explain, and it's an amazing thing to be a part of. And that's one thing that like keeps me, always coming back. And, I've coached basketball, played basketball, I played baseball, and it's just, I love doing those, but it just isn't it's just different. And I don't really know how to explain it. I know football is a little more emotional and physical and all that stuff, but it is just something you can't explain to a lot of people.
We had a senior walk off the field one year. His freshman and sophomore year, didn't play football. Never came to school really, had bad grades. Miss Riley really formed a relationship with this young man. He came out for football, and senior night, he's walking off the field and hugged me. And I'll never forget it. He was like, "This is coach." He thanked us and he's like, "Coach, this is the closest thing I've ever had to a family."
Yeah.
And when you hear that, you feel pretty good about what your coaches and everybody, what we've accomplished. And win or lose, I can't even tell you if we won that game or not, but I can tell you what he told me afterwards.
Well, I would imagine like for you guys, you're prepping them for life. Not it don't matter at the end of the day. Even if you win a state title every year, it's for the real world. So you're hoping that. I mean, I would think now like for you guys, like it's more of you're trying to teach them to deal with adversity, and you're going to work with people you don't like, and how do you get through that? Because it's easy for kids to be like, well, this is hard, or I don't like it, so I'm going to just quit. But you do that in the real world for your job, then you don't have income and you can't provide for your family. So I feel like you guys are like more of like your mentors, your coaches, your counselors, and then you're a coach. Like you're all of those things into one.
Yeah. And I want to share a story quick with, so we do these senior letters, the last practice that the freshmen, sophomores, and juniors and seniors are all together. We have the freshmen write a letter to the seniors about what they meant to them, what they learned from them, sophomores, juniors, and then the seniors each individually write a letter about what being a part of Comanche football meant to them and advice for the younger classmen. And not this past season, but the season before, we had a senior who he didn't play. He every once in a while would be on like a special team, but not really. But the kid would literally come to practice and simply just like, he worked harder than just about anybody in that practice. And then in the letter, he literally said in the letter that this is the thing at 3:15 he looked forward to the most every day is coming out to practice. And he was super quiet, didn't really say much, didn't really have like a ton of close friends on the team, but he just loved being there. And like, he's reading that, I'm crying, it's just something that's just really cool. And when kids like that are playing and still showing all that effort and work ethic, it's just that he's going to be a successful adult, because he went through that. So I think that's really cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a little teary-eyed, huh?
Yeah, I know those senior letters, man. Oh man, I started that. I think I don't know. I don't think I did it my first year as head coach. So it's been 6 years then. And it literally, they do a really good job. The seniors do. And they really, I tell them that, like, I don't want them to just be like, oh, I love Comanche football, work hard, like as they're
Right.
like, I tell them like, guys, I want you to like take this serious. I want you to like really reflect on it. And even the freshman letters, the sophomore letters, the junior letters, tell them the same thing. And they're pretty good too. And there's just some of the stuff that the seniors say that, you don't really think about or you take for granted, and they're thinking about it it's awesome. I'm really glad I do. It's one of my favorite things that we do as far as our tradition, one of our traditions here. So I'll definitely keep doing that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate
Comanche
that.
Storm.
Comanche Storm. So Coach Allen, quick question. Did you, when you were coaching, did you have any like pregame rituals or like something you did before every game, something you ate or listened to, anything?
Yes, I mean,
You might have to keep it like
for a long time, I had same socks, same shorts, same underwear, same undershirt that I wore. The last few years, I went out kayaking every Thursday night before a game and just kind of cleared my head, and it just opened stars and just kind of went through the game, Then the coaches, we had a tradition on Thursday nights, but I can't share that because my wife would kill me.
Come on, do it. Come on.
Maybe
Come
My wife hasn't
on.
texted me already.
you retire from your assistant principal AD job. We'll have you back on in 2 years.
She might still beat me.
Well, I do know like Coach Allen's a short guy. He wears shorts every game, no matter how cold it is, just like you, Stinda. So
That's a good man right there.
I couldn't do it now. If I went back into coaching now, the last 2 years, my body's just gotten on. I couldn't do it.
Did you wear jersey shorts or khakis?
Khakis.
Oh,
Khaki
okay.
shorts.
Khaki shorts. Khaki shorts.
Yeah, love it.
So have you gotten soft? Is that what you're saying, Coach?
I've gotten soft as I've gotten older. Well, the year in the semifinals here, I had snow pants on, snow boots, and a winter jacket during pregame, and then I'm like, gosh, dang it, I have to go to shorts because I'm very superstitious, Jeremy.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm very superstitious, so I wasn't about to break that at that point.
That's what Miss Riley just commented. Mike Allen's the most superstitious person I know. Miss Riley was my geometry teacher, still there teaching. She was awesome.
Her and I retire next year together. So
yeah, that's awesome. Good deal.
Yeah. We were driving back down Singman, Coach Coit, after 7-on-7 the summer before the 17 championship, and Black Cat ran out in the middle of the road, and I made a U-turn in the middle of Singman. All the kids were like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "There's no way I'm going to travel. Keep going forward past that."
Oh my God!
There's no way. There was water from the air conditioner kind of flowing down on their head. But they agreed with me. We weren't going to cross that path.
Yeah.
What Coach Allen, what was it, 17 or 18 when you guys played up at Eastland Pearl City?
That was 18.
18, yep. So I went to that game because it's like 30 minutes from where I'm at. And Coach Allen, before the game, I saw him, and he has all like winter coat, pants, everything. I'm like, he's not doing shorts. And then he comes out of the locker room, he's got shorts on. So he still would coach with the shorts. So
one more thing, I used to if I ate dinner on a Friday afternoon at wherever I ate, if we won, I continued eating there. If we lost, I'd go somewhere else. Well, going into the 17th season, I started eating at Dairy Queen. For the next 2.5 years, I had to eat at Dairy Queen chicken strips every day.
Nice. Yes.
On Friday, not every day, but on Friday.
I was going to say,
Mr.
every Friday
was awesome during COVID. I got to go in and sit at a table, so I had that tradition. That was a good tradition, though. But I got tired of chicken strips.
Oh yeah, I bet. Man, those are pretty plain. Yeah.
So you did that 28 Fridays in a row because you won 20. How did you win more than 28 in a row? I know your state championships, you're undefeated.
I think we went 32 or 33. I can't remember what it was, but But then after that, I continued eating there because Mr. Patel was so awesome at Dairy Queen. I wasn't going to stop going.
Did you get like a discount or anything?
No discounts. No discounts. We pay full price.
Okay, I like it though.
You don't get special treatments for being a 2-time state champion coach.
No.
Gosh, I know how Gibson City works. You probably got a discount. They like winners. Your wife did comment, Coach Allen. She said no on the coaches thing. I bet.
Yeah. I knew she would make
so this is another question. This may be hard to answer. So we've already, obviously discussed that you won 2 state championships, but in the intro, we said you're also a Illinois High School Coaching Association, Football Coaches Association Hall of Famer. So which one of those accolades was more meaningful to you, the state championships or the Hall of Fame recognition?
State championships, absolutely. Absolutely state championships.
Why?
Because it was the whole team effort. It was, and so is the Hall of Fame. Don't get me wrong, because that's the assistants and everything. But the kids, the community, that was a celebration for everyone. And that was just to be on the field with those kids, wanting that goal for so long and then achieving it, that's something that not too many things can take higher than that. You know.
Yeah.
So
I would agree. That'd be awesome.
But having both has got to be nice, though.
it was the first one. You're so busy, you're so nervous. You didn't get a joy as much as probably the second one. And even the second one, there was so much pressure. The second round, we played Chicago Hope, and they were good. They were real good. And I thought, man, if we don't make it past the second round, you're going to run me out of town.
Yeah.
You know, so as a coach, you don't always get to enjoy it.
Right.
And so, but it was something that you always remember.
Yeah. So what was that pressure like? You said, you had pressure to win the second round game, but like, did you feel like even during the regular season of those games, like I know that's not as big of a deal because you can still make the playoffs, but did you feel any pressure of like trying to stay undefeated or?
No, we never talked about that.
Okay.
We never talked about the winning streak, anything like that. The pressure that coaches put on themselves is just tremendous at times, whether anyone else is or not. Something that, in 2015, we got beat in the quarterfinals. And the next week, someone's like, oh, that was a state championship. I'm like, oh, no, Leroy will get them or something like that. I didn't realize how good we were. And our coaching staff didn't realize how good we were. And we never let the kids think that they were as good as they were. And that was one thing we learned going into the 16 season, 17 season, 18 season. It's okay to have a little swagger sometimes. It's okay to tell your kids, hey, we are good. We should win. Our goal was to get 40 points in the first half and let our backups play the whole second half, which we did 80% of the time those 2 years. And trust in the process going into 19 season, those kids then had played all that varsity experience and played very well in that 19 season and only lost 2 games. So it just the excitement, the fun time of it. But the pressure was, like I said, going into that season, going to that Chicago Hope, after we beat them, then the kids were like, Coach, you were nervous, weren't you? And I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you could tell you were nervous. And I look back on that and I tried, okay, how did I show that? Because I never wanted to show that again. As a coach, but it was a lot of pressure, and those kids just stepped up in big situations all the time. So
yeah,
just pressure that we felt more probably than that was actually on us.
I think.
Well, yeah, and
nervous.
Yeah,
coach or player. I mean, you're in that big game, like you can't tell me. I mean, no matter what, like you said, you don't want to show it, but I mean, come on. I mean, like you said, you're talking about. Well, you get bounced in the second round. People want to run you out of town, even though you had a great season. So high school or not, like that's, I think, for you get paid very little and there's a very, very high expectation for you guys.
Yeah, but as coaches, we know that going into it, right. we understand that it's part of the game.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. And when you have a team that is that good, and you're pretty much expected to win every game, that can be difficult as well. But I feel like those teams you had, they mentally were locked in and physically were extremely talented, and you have both of those. That's a pretty big deal there.
The time and the commitment that they put into the weight room when they walked on that field, they felt that they were going to win. The confidence that they had just by the amount of weights that they could throw around. Their mentality was no one was going to stop them. It might get tight, but they were going to pull it out somehow, some way. And it was pretty remarkable to see the mentality of kids like that.
Yeah. I remember, I believe it was the 17 years that when you beat Newman at Gibson City, Sterling Newman. And Sterling Newman obviously has great traditions with Mike Paposi, their head coach. And in that game, it was like snowing, raining. It was whatever, every type of precipitation happened that game. I remember because I was there and cold, and you got just physically, because I had seen that Newman team play, and I'm like, I don't know, they're really good. And you guys just physically, I thought like overwhelmed them, and nobody had really done that to them. And then when you won that game, I'm like, they're gonna be good shape. So
I don't know if physically, but I don't know if there was a lot of physicality in that game because it was so muddy and it was just you couldn't tell who was where.
yeah, you can't say you guys weren't physical though.
We
You
were
guys
physical, but
physical.
that traction on that field was
true.
I've never seen a field that torn up before.
Yeah.
But it was fun. That was fun. That game was is one of my top 4 games because what it meant to have your semifinals at home, playing in front of your home crowd, and then the weather and all that. It was a cool day for football.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a football weather game for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I got kind of a fun question here, and I don't know. I think you're gonna give the PC answer to this, but we'll see. So 2017, obviously undefeated, 14-0 state championship. 2018, 14-0 state championship. If those two teams were to play each other, which team would win?
Oh man. I would probably tend to say the 18 team, and no disrespect towards the 17 team, but there were so many of those kids that were juniors that played on the 17 team that were so impactful on the 18 team also. They grew and got better. Josh Bly as an offensive lineman, Hayden Workman, the strength that he put on, Rylan Hope, got taller and stronger, Jared Trantina, just, Nathan Gerard. Our kids matured, and there were so many of those kids that played as juniors and won. I think you'd almost have to give the advantage to the 18 team. Okay. And I'm sorry, 17 members, but I think the 18 team would have that slight advantage.
You just got to be truthful. Just being honest.
Well, the 18 team, that was the year you guys dominated in the state championship, right?
Yeah.
Against Monroe. Yeah. Well,
we beat them. Yeah. We beat them by, I think,
3 scores. Yeah. That you can say that.
Well, it all happened. Bam, bam, bam.
Remember? Yeah, but still.
We'll
call it domination.
The maturity level. The 18 team, though, you have McNutt, you have Rosenbaum, you have Freehill, you have a lot of guys on that team, Thompson, that contributed, but those juniors on that team just grew and even got stronger and bigger going into their senior year, and it just very talented group of kids.
Yeah, and kind of with that talent, like you, a lot of those kids went on and played college sports. Even a couple of them are still D1 players. You had Bryce Barnes at University of Illinois, just finished up there, right? Or he's finished up football, and then Ben Freehill's kicker for Purdue.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any other guys go D1, or are they just kind of?
Well, off the 18 team, Aiden Lawfrey, he's down at U of I still.
Yeah, I forgot about Lawfrey. So, he's still going.
Josh Bly went to McKendree, which is a D2 school, which he was a stud on our team. On the 18 team, he was a lineman that had fractured his leg, was missed 3 or 4 games, came back for that second round playoff against Hope, against their all-stater defensive end. And Josh just dominated this kid all day long, just coming back from that. Just a great kid. And so that was, he didn't go D1, but he played 5 years at McKendree and was a stud there. So, he went there also. And we had Austin Spiller went to McKendree, Nathan Gerard to Eureka, Lane Short went to Eureka, Jared Trantina went to Wisconsin Platteville. So there's a group of them that really bought into football, loved it. Lane Short, we talked. There's a kid, old school, with Huddle. You can watch Huddle and pick up things. That kid carried a notebook around on Sterling Newman. He knew what each play was going to happen before it happened. And I've never seen a kid more locked in and prepared for games, playoff games especially, than he was during those both years, but especially senior year. He carried a folder, and it was like a diary of everything, that every play that we ran against. It was pretty special to see.
That's cool. That's kind of we hit on a little bit of that last week with Coach Lower with the huddle and
Yeah.
having it. Do kids, how do they know how to watch it and stuff like that? But that's cool that you had members on that team that
Yeah.
were locked in that way also. JP, you got any questions over there?
No, I got a
Yeah.
question for both of you guys.
Yeah.
All right. So kind of back to, it's kind of not off track, but like having coaches when you guys first started hiring a coach to now, like, so say the traditional coach, probably Coach Allen, when you started, they were probably teaching in the school, they were in the building, where like now I feel like it's very common to have coaches that are not a teacher, they're not in the school district. How have you guys adapted this over the years to make sure that the non-traditional coaches stay in sync with the kids and the other staff by not being in the building?
I'll let you go first, Coach.
Um, about half of the staff that we had, and still probably have, is half of them weren't teachers.
Okay.
We have a CEO of our hospital who is an incredible supporter of our athletic programs. We have a guy that is head of the state highway department, guy that works up at the hospital, guys that own their own businesses. And so we had to, when you have volunteers, you have to have that commitment. Hey, you have to be here. Something that we have in place is we're not going to have someone volunteer to coach their first year. If their son's going to be a freshman, we're not having them as a coach. They've had to establish that coaching with us 3 or 4 years prior.
Right.
That way we don't run into issues with that. But it's tough because coaching out of a building. I used to teach at the middle school and when I was the head coach the first couple of years, and that's tough not being in the building to build those relationships, see how they're doing, talk to the teachers, kind of get input from them. A small community, it's not as hard. As far you agree, Coach Coyd. I mean, the guys around, the coaches around, most people know them. The faculty knows most of them, so they see a lot of them in that situation. But it's still. It makes it a little tougher. I think you have to work harder to build relationships because you don't see them throughout the day, and that practice time is valuable. Pre-practice, after practice, is so valuable to get that established at that time.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean, I only have one assistant that's also a teacher, and then we have we had a volunteer that's student teaching right now. So all my other coaches are not teachers. We have Coach Beal he does a lot with our strength and conditioning, and comes in, during like 8th hour during the school hour and works out some kids. So he's kind of a part of it and he's involved with kids that way. But yeah, kind of like Coach Allen was saying, I mean, small community, most people know the guys on staff, and we have Sean Lawrence on staff, and he runs his construction business. He's built a lot of houses in the area, so a bunch of people know him. His son, Coach Nick Lawrence, coached at Clinton for a while in basketball. So, and like Shane Buckley and Zach Smith, all those guys too. So they're known in the community. Ryan Kincaid volunteers too. So, guys are known in the community, and they're also the same. They want the same thing that we want. Like they want the kids to get better. They want to win. You know what I mean? They're in it for the right reasons too. And I try to get coaches that want to do that as well. You don't want coaches that are kind of maybe just in it for either themselves or their family or something like that, or just to say, oh, I'm a coach. I mean, all my coaches are putting the time in, and they're doing things to get better for themselves as coaches too. So yeah.
Because when I got hired by Grimm in 2009, there was, I think, he had told me, he's like, yeah, I think out of the 2 people in the last several years, just football wise, he's like, it's not common, and that was, 15 years ago. But I remember being at Clinton High, there was never a coach on staff when I was at Clinton High that was not a teacher.
Yeah.
There was never. I mean, so that was like when I was lucky to get that job at Comanche at the time, just by the luck of the draw, because they were anywhere else. They're like, you just got to volunteer. Like you're just volunteer. You're not going to pay contract. Where, I saw that and it made sense at the time, but as things have evolved, it's like, you just see that it's more common now where it's like, yeah, like a business owner, somebody in the community, where they always said back in the day, like, well, if you're not in the building, you're not around the kids, you don't get to interact with them. They can't talk to you if they need to. So it's interesting to see your guys' perspective on that now, that many years later.
We have a couple of former players on staff that really, as a coach, it makes you feel wonderful having players that are wanting to come back. But they Jamie Sexton and Brandon Luttrell have done a fabulous job with our younger kids. They could relate to them a little better than us older guys, and it's really made a difference. And their energy, it's contagious also.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, I'm sure adapt. I mean, it's probably hard for you guys to find coaches.
Can be.
Yeah. I mean, it has been for me at times, but I mean, luckily, I mean, the guys that are assistants now, like Sean Lawrence has been assistant with me for all 7 years. Coach Buckley, he's going on 4, I believe. And Brady Beal's going on 3-4 years as well. So, and then I think Tyler Mulholland's going to be around for a while too. And and Zach Smith, they're young. So they're 20, Coach Beal's 26, 27, somewhere around there. Molly's 24, 25. I'm butchering all their ages, but they're around that age. And Zach's kind of the same, 27, 28. And I made a deal with those guys that they have to stick around for at least 20 years or until I retire, because they do such a great job with the kids. And same with Coach Buckley. And just good guys to have around. And then adding Baylor Krieger, former player of mine who's student teaching right now, is helped out our staff, and great wrestling coach too. So just having guys around the program that want to be around it is huge, I think. So
yeah, for sure.
Let's ask Coach Allen one more question.
Okay.
And then you want to get into our top 3 linebacker talk.
We're gonna have to.
And then we may need to wrap up. Coach Allen's got to work. He's got school tomorrow. He probably got to go to bed.
I have eligibility to do still.
Oh, geez. So are we keeping you? Do we need to go faster?
No.
Are you sure? All right.
What's the score of the game?
49ers just won 34-31. Or 34-31.
Oh.
Lions scored with just under a minute left to go, 34-31, and then kicked an onside kick and went off the fingertips of the Lions player, and the 49ers recovered. So
I would love to play for Dan Campbell.
Yeah,
that would be one coach I would love to play for.
I think on the going back to the comments, I'm pretty sure Keegan, your son, commented. Let me see if I can go back and find it. He said, just like the Lions and Dan Campbell struggled the first 2 years, always takes a few years to build your culture, just like Coach Allen's first couple of years.
That's my son that said that. He was
being
nice.
Keegan Allen. It says Keegan Allen. Yeah. There you go. He loves you.
Yeah.
And then so my I embarrass myself, but my eyes are starting to get bad all of a sudden, just like in the last 2 weeks. I don't know if I'm getting old too, but I said to my wife, I used to be able to read small print really well.
Yeah, all right. You want me to read them or what?
Well, I think I'm good, but Knox handed me something. I don't remember what it was, or wanted me to read something off his phone, and it was super tiny. And I'm like, oh my gosh! I'm like, Knox, I literally cannot read that right now. And there's just been little things that are going on. So
go buy a pair of cheaters at the dollar store.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dana Weber said get some cheaters.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not 40 yet. I'm gonna wait till I'm 40, I think. So we'll go there.
Close.
Yeah, no, I'll be 39 in April. So
dang, jumping up there, bro.
Yeah, I know, getting old. We do. So there's a comment here that I missed. It's from Ryan Modert, I believe. Do you know who that is, Coach Allen?
No.
Because I don't. Do you, Stenta? Ryan Modert. Is the same? It says Ryan Modert, Modert.
No.
He said, "My name is Ryan, and I want to be a coach someday, and I'd like some advice from the legend."
Oh, Ryan. Okay, yes, I know.
Okay, I was gonna say he's got to be talking about Coach Allen.
That was my daughter's boyfriend.
Okay. You didn't know his name?
I couldn't. You're cutting in and out.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't hear it very well.
Gotcha.
I will give him. I will talk with him off the screen.
Okay, sounds good. I'll let you handle that. There's a Steelers thing on there. Did you see that, Stenda, from Ryan Jordan?
What'd he say?
He said, so what Stendo wants to know is, what do the Steelers have to do to get back in the NFL's good graces to be on the right end of the script to get the happy ending?
You need to get an offensive coordinator, and we don't follow a script. We never had a script. We just haven't been able to get it done. So it is what it is.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't make excuses. A lot of fans like to make excuses for their teams. I don't. You know me. I don't be giving no. I don't give any leeway to them. They got the guys to do it. They just got to be able to, I guess, put it together at this point.
All right, Coach Allen, one more question, then the linebackers. Are you good?
Yes, yeah, I'm perfectly fine.
So real quick, and again, if you don't want to answer this, it's fine. But so as a coach, I'm sure you at times may have experienced criticism from maybe a parent, maybe a fan, community member, or something like that. How do you handle that in maybe someone that isn't agreeing with how you're coaching, or maybe even play calling, or how you're running a practice, et cetera? What would you do to handle that, or kind of block that noise out?
Wear earphones on Friday night. You don't hear anything.
That's true. That's a good point.
That's jokingly, but my first game I went to after I was done coaching, Coach Augsburger's first game, it's amazing how much you hear, because when you do have those headphones on, it's just you and the voices, from the press box or on the sideline. But the best advice is treat the kids with respect and dignity. And if you're doing that, most of the time they will understand. They're at practice. They see the progression. Most times if they will see that someone's ahead of them, that someone's better than them. Their parents might not always see that, but the kids, they know if you're treating them fair, they get a fair chance, a fair shot, they're okay with it. That, to me, I got to the point that if the parents were mad at me, it didn't really bother me, as long as the kids stood where we stood, what was going on, because that's who I had to answer to every day. That I had to see them every day. And honestly, with the parents, always be respectful. Hopefully you're doing the right thing by giving every kid a chance, treating them right. Playing time is one of those things that's never going to be agreed upon between a coach and a parent. So you just don't get into that debate. I had one time a parent want to come in and argue about his son's playing time, and I had our weight dates, our attendance sheets from the summer, and I just put the weight dates on my desk, and I said, go and look at these. He goes, what are these? I said, they're attendance dates from the summer for weight room. And he looked at him, and he looked up. He goes, my son had the worst attendance. I said, yes, sir, he did. And he goes, he told me he was at the weight room. I said, no, he was with his girlfriend. He missed the weight room, and that's why he's not playing.
Yeah.
Right, And if you're honest and you have things like that where it shows support, support your decision, I think it makes it easier. But the bottom line is, if you treat kids with respect, you shouldn't have to worry about too much difficulty. You're never going to make everyone happy.
Right.
I understand that. And that hurts as a coach, as well as I do. You don't want people disliking you or questioning you. But if you could look at yourself in the mirror and know that at least you're doing the right thing in the right way, you can't let it drive you crazy either.
Yeah, I agree with that. Even not having a play sheet.
What's that?
Some
who
members
put that on there?
No, I remember. I remember you telling me that. You were calling plays without a play sheet, and people thought you needed to have a play sheet or something.
I mean, when you run the offense long enough, you know what to do. And eventually, I got a play sheet. I type one out every game, and I had it in my back pocket for most of the time. So made people happy.
That's impressive, though, that you were able to do that without a play sheet, though.
Well, what we ran, we didn't have 50 plays. We had 8 plays with different formations, so you didn't have to remember a whole lot.
ISO, trap,
ISO,
toss,
power, counter trade,
power,
waggle. You like the waggle. You and Aubrey like the waggle.
Oh yeah, waggle was the bread and butter back in the day.
Absolutely.
I remember ISO and trap. We were in trap ISO, 34 ISO.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Run it down our throats.
All right. So let's get into the tier talk here. The top 3 linebackers. So Coach Allen, this is how it works. So who wants to go first?
Coach Allen, I think you should go first
Okay.
on this one.
So, Coach Allen, you're going to go first. So we'll let you tell us your top three, and then I'll say one word about your list, like awesome, sucks, whatever,
Right.
and then Stenda will give his word, and then I'll go, and then Stenda will go last.
Yep.
Okay.
Sound good? And then you have to give us a word on our
Okay.
list.
Now I'm building up.
Sorry.
I'm building up to my final three. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to start with the all-time best college linebacker, and Brian Bosworth. We mentioned that off there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm giving the guys in my era only that
Yep.
I've seen play. I never saw Dick Butkus or Jack Lambert play in person. Lambert some. Those two would be on my top list if I'd seen him play, I think. But Mike Singletary, Ray Lewis, and Lawrence Taylor. Three guys pretty. Singletary was a student of the game. The other two were just crazy animals that flew around and just wreaked havoc. But I think those three would have. Urlacher was in there, but I went with those three instead.
I'm gonna say it's legit. Yeah, I mean, even he's using the college with Bosworth. I mean, yeah, we should probably throw that in there to be able to give one. But yeah, I mean, two of those guys. Well, two of them I have on my list, but not Boz, obviously. But
No.
I mean, yeah, my word is legit.
Quality.
Well, okay.
That'd be my word. All right, my turn.
Yep, you going?
All right, so I'm gonna have an honorable mention because I don't know why I always like doing that, but I'm going to. So my honorable mention is going to be Derek Thomas. So again, these are linebackers that we saw play in our era.
Yeah, absolutely.
Derek Thomas from the Chiefs. He only played, I think, 10 seasons, maybe 11, and he got in that car accident and ended up dying while he was still in the league. But he had like 126 sacks on his career as a linebacker, which is insane amount of sacks. And forced over 40 fumbles and had a bunch of interceptions as well. So he'd be an honorable mention. I have Steve Clement saying smart pick. He's not in my top three, but he's a Chiefs fan is why he's saying that. Number 3 is going to be Derek Brooks of the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Tampa.
Yeah, he I just remember watching him, and he was a guy that always like stood out to me when I'd watch games. He's fast. He came downhill. He could go sideline to sideline. Was always around the ball. He'd be my number 3. My number 2 would be Brian Urlacher. Obviously Bears fan. Watched Urlacher play pretty much every game of his career. And that dude, he was a safety in college, and then he gets drafted, and he's the middle linebacker, and it's just a dude. And again, same thing, kind of like Brooks, could go sideline to sideline, could cover, come downhill. I don't think I ever saw him miss a tackle. I just don't remember him missing tackles ever. And he also, I think he had 20 plus interceptions in his career. Bunch of returns for touchdowns. So he'd be my number 2. And my number 1 is Ray Lewis would be my number 1. He probably could go down as one of the greatest of all time in any era. He has over 2,000 tackles in his career. I think he's the only player with more than 40 sacks and 30 interceptions in a career, which is also impressive as a linebacker. So again, he's the same thing. He would just I can't remember. I think it might have been Eli Manning or Peyton Manning. They were calling out the mic protection, for the blitzes and stuff. And Ray Lewis goes, nope, I'm the mic. And then Eli or Peyton changed the protection and listened to Ray Lewis, and he was just messing with them. Because they're he was just so intimidating. We were oh yeah, he is the mic. But he was just different. Defenses he was on with the Ravens were incredible with him and Ed Reed and T. Suggs and Boulware and Tony Siragusa, all those guys. They're just dudes. So that's my list. What's your word, guys?
Coach Allen, you go first.
Yeah, I was going to say speed. That is a fast, fast linebacking core.
That is.
Diverse.
Mm.
Very when I say diverse, just you threw me off with Urlacher, which
Really?
I think he's top 10. He's in the top 10, but I guess different eras. But I would say
Yeah.
no, he's not. I mean, he's part of the Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's part of Ray Lewis. Yeah.
I don't think he was anything near Ray Lewis.
I thought the Derek Brooks would throw you off.
No, he was
Okay. Yeah.
Brooks and Thomas. Today when I was looking, I'm like, I think they're top 7. They're in there.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm obviously going to go Ray Lewis because I don't
Right.
think anybody could cover sideline to sideline like he could. He could play the run and still play the pass. It was still a very heavy run league, and he literally nobody could block him. I mean, I think is he number 1? He's 2. Number 1 is Lawrence Taylor. And I only saw him for like 4 or 5
Was that in your
years.
era though?
He would 94 was I think his last year. Remember as a kid, like seeing him play. Yeah, he was like 90, I think 94. I mean, and then you just watch videos of him. Like, I don't know if there's anybody as violent as him and literally like, again, go back to like playing the pass and run. He could literally do both. Like he could cover receivers. He would chase you watch some of those videos of him going, running backs, a sweep or whatever they were trying to do. Like there was nobody. I mean, he was kind of more of an edge, really, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. He pretty much played kind of an edge rusher.
Now,
So
have you heard the story about when he left his Fiaro on the interstate and got a ride to the game and got there late? He has some great stories. I've heard, on podcasts.
yeah, he had, I think, was that one, doesn't he talk about with, at one point he was talking like on a show with Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
They talked about it. He like the car breaks down and does he hitch a ride or something?
He hitches a ride to the game. Yeah.
Yeah. I just
What,
think
how would that, like, that'd be funny picking up Lawrence Taylor to go to the game.
Give me a ride to the stadium. I mean, I think those two, and then I'm going to just use a guy that's in our right now playing, that's played long enough, is Fred Warner. Like in today's era, that's playing 6 years.
Okay.
He's had over 120 tackles every single year. We've talked about this on a couple of our shows, literally sideline to sideline. And the fact that these guys can play that position at linebacker and cover a receiver, a tight end, and a running back 30 yards downfield, to me is just, you just don't see that. Like he's kind of like the Ray Lewis again, like guys that are just freaks of nature. So I tried to pick 2 that are done, but a guy now, like, yeah, I think Warner, if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to be he'll be a Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 120. I think I looked up today. He had like one season, he had like 140 tackles. I mean, that is a lot of tackles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Play the run and pass. So, yeah.
This is my cousin got me this for Christmas a couple years ago. I don't know if it's a Ray Lewis signed autograph.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is cool.
I've seen him. Have you ever seen him play like in person in a game anywhere?
No.
I used to watch him play against Pitt. I would go every year. And that guy, it would have been, so they played them twice regular season, 2008 when Pitt beat him in the AFC Championship, won the Super Bowl. But watching him play at Baltimore is the game changer because of how the fans are. And he literally, that stadium, I've never seen more electric, and what he would just do by him coming out of the gates. Those people for the whole game, they're absolutely nuts. And he would literally, it was almost like he would kill people on the field. Like, I just couldn't believe him being able to cover a guy downfield.
At that size, because he wasn't small by any means.
No.
Big boy.
He was big. So he probably really should be number 1. But Lawrence Taylor, you watch his videos, it's like, man, dude, he was violent. Like he was straight violent to everybody he hit. So those are my 3.
All right. My word would be killer.
Killer. Yeah.
Well, because you know why?
Yeah.
Ray Lewis was in that murder investigation too. So,
I was going to say chain gang.
Yeah. Oh man, you said that there. It's like Yeah, when people say he killed people, it's like, well, he actually may have killed somebody.
On and off the field, maybe.
Yeah.
They still haven't found that white suit, but that's a
I will
different
always
story.
remember Lawrence Taylor tackling Joe Theismann when he broke his leg on that. Watching that, I think it was a Monday night game, if I remember correctly, maybe. But
Yeah, I
that was-
remember.
whew.
I saw the highlight of that. Yeah, that's nasty.
I mean, it's weird. Like you think of that era, like they were heavy on the run.
Yeah.
But like then when he would have to, you see videos of him going to cover and he would pick people off. It's like it was unreal. Maybe the skill players weren't as athletic as they are now, but man, you put Lawrence Taylor today. I mean, obviously he can't hit that way today because they're not going to allow him to. But man, watching I think the most interesting part is being able to see them cover skill players, downfield. And it's like they're a linebacker. Like you're talking about a 6'1", 180-pound receiver, and then a 6'2", 260-pound linebacker running step for step. I think that's where it's like they're just on a different planet.
I can't believe neither one of you picked Singletary also. Well, Dustin, he didn't play.
Yeah, it's not my era.
Yeah.
Singletary.
When did he? Yeah, because I looking him up to him, like he is on there. He is. I mean, he's definitely top.
Yeah.
3-5, but yeah, I never saw him. So, but
he was good. He was. His eyes would get mad. I mean, he's just this kind of professor of the defense out there.
Man, when they like I said,
he retired like early 90s, right?
Yeah, probably would have been around 90 or 91.
Yeah,
maybe.
I was only like 5, so I didn't count that as my era.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Lawrence Taylor. I mean, I think of Lawrence like yes, like all the coaches that talk about him, like Bill Belichick. That's the first thing he always says. Well, Lawrence Taylor is the greatest football player that's ever played. Football.
Yeah,
I would say he was, but there's so many stories about what he ingested before he would play to give him that image.
Yeah.
Well, he was the big cocaine guy.
Yeah. I think he was blowing snow. He was blowing the snow. I'm sorry, guys.
According to the biography and everything,
Yeah.
You remember when he's on what is it, Waterboy? When Adam Sandler, Bobby Boucher.
Yeah.
And he's talking to him and he can't, it's blah, blah, blah. And Lawrence Taylor's like, my next point is kids don't smoke crack.
Yeah. That's classic.
Well, you did, but okay. Man. Love it.
All right. JP, you got anything you want to add or before we let Coach Allen go here?
No, Coach Allen, appreciate you coming on. It's great to hear your perspective on things, and definitely would love to have you come back sometime. If you'd love to be anytime you want to be a guest, we'd love to have you on. It's always good to get a different perspective from just, Coach Coit and I. So I loved having you. I think it was a great convo and would love to have you back sometime if you'd be willing to jump back on when you get some free time.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys asking me. When Dustin texted me that, I was all in. And anytime you guys need an extra person on here, just let me know. I'd love to do it.
Absolutely. Be awesome.
Sounds good. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Tell everyone hi, Coach.
Yeah, we'll do.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right. We're going to sign off for Beyond the Scoreboard podcast. We will be coming back at you next Sunday, live at 7:30 with another guest. We'll let you know who that guest is on our Beyond the Scoreboard Facebook page. If you weren't able to catch us live, make sure you hit us up in the views on the Facebook. Check you later.
All right. See you guys.
See you.
Adios.
Take care.